Go to the events tab on HoNTour.com, the Diamond Division, and you can click on the brackets link. But here we are with the brackets, so a couple things to talk about. The biggest one being Denial Esports upsetting Stay Green yesterday in the second round. And as a result, Stay Green is in the losers bracket round 2. This is the earliest they have ever been knocked out, I believe at least, unless I'm mistaken by that. I want to say early on, let me actually double check on that real quickly now that I'm mentioning that. But of course, so again, here we are with Stay Green. They were knocked out. This is the earliest they've been knocked out. It's the first time they've ever been playing in the losers bracket round 2, which of course they are playing here today against You Love to Party in that matchup. So of course we'll keep an eye on that as far as all the other matchups as well. But yeah, that was a big result. Obviously, Too Much Sugar defeating IG in the second round, happening to be matched up, thus knocking them down to the second round. It's shaping up to be another great cycle here once again with second number 7. Yesterday, awesome matches, some great heroes in New Earth, and looking forward to today continuing with that trend as far as the matches that we have. Now, speaking of that, so we're kicking things off with, as you can see, a losers bracket round 2 matchup. Of course, we have We Are Spies taking on Team Excellent. If you tuned in yesterday, you know that Team Excellent, again, initially they announced that they were going to be disbanding. Unfortunately, it was crappy to hear, frankly. I mean, this is a team, they're third place overall in the HoN Tour standings. But here they are. They are competing in cycle number 7. Obviously, a bit of a roster change. They kind of combined a couple teams with Team Afraid as well as these guys coming together, and now you have kind of a new roster. So it is still a great, great team, but it definitely isn't the same Team Excellent that we've known here throughout HoN Tour Season 2 so far. So we'll see how this team now steps up as far as moving along and what's going to be happening again. They actually matched up against TMSR in that first round. We casted that yesterday. They were knocked down. They looked decent, but Too Much Sugar just looked better. As far as 007 is concerned, of course, We Are Spies. This is a team. They bounce back and forth between the Gold and Diamond Division. They've won every single Gold cycle, I believe, that they have been in. But in the Diamond Division, they have never really been able to advance too far. Trying to change that here today, though. We'll see if they're able to advance out. But we are already moving along well in this draft here. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the hell is going on. As far as the banning phase, as always, we'll look at the bans. We've got Ravener, Ophelia, Keeper of the Forest, and Engineer coming out right here. The picks then, Kraken, Warbeast, Tempest, into Wretched Hag. So obviously strong starts for both sides here. Seems like Team Excellent going for more of the team fight focus. The Tempest, the Kraken, the first pick, whereas 007 more concerned about carry potential. Warbeast into the Wretched Hag. Scout going to be picked up by Team Excellent over here. And Scout's a great pickup for several reasons. Not only just an excellent suicide option, a very annoying hero to deal against, but also he's great against Warbeast. The disarm really can screw over here like Warbeast. Warbeast, especially in the ulti form, especially once he gets that shrunken head, he's considered to be fairly unstoppable. Obviously, just being able to freely run around for the most part and do some good damage. But Scout kind of changes that to an extent. The disarm really can screw him up and can make things somewhat difficult for him. So I definitely like seeing that pick over here from Team Excellent. But that also means, I mean, it's not guaranteed. At the same time, I was going to say Kraken probably not going to be suicide. But we have seen short lane scouts before as well. So in this case, though, probably leaning towards more of a suicide scout with the Kraken perhaps in the middle lane even. Maybe even the short lane, depending on how they finish things off here. But they do have the Tempest pickup on top of that. So, of course, going to be running the jungle strategy. Apparently, 007 pretty comfortable doing that as well. They finish off with the Parasite pick here. And now into the second tier of bans. We're going to be going, so obviously I do apologize in advance. Going to be, got to drink the water, got to keep hydrated here, so especially doing the solo thing. It wouldn't anyway, so that doesn't really change anything, but it happens to be every now and then occasional slight downtime. That is why. But again, we're coming off an amazing day yesterday. I mean, yesterday was a lot, especially for a day one of a cycle. We had some great matches. I mean, some great matchups. I mean, hell, we started off with Too Much Sugar versus Team Excellent. Go figure, that's a first-round matchup. That led into TMSR versus IG, of course. And then we were also jumping around. We ended up jumping into, obviously, the Stay Green versus Denial Esports series. And we all know what happened there. As far as that was concerned, of course, DNL, they won the first game. It was an epic first game, about a 60-minute match. It came down to the wire. Denial was able to pull it out. Stay Green responded with a very quick 15-minute concede victory as they win a mass push strategy, and that caught Denial off guard. But then Game 3, Denial Esports came back, played very well themselves, and obviously took it over Stay Green. And, you know, another thing to note about as far as looking at those brackets here, you might have noticed as well, that means also in the losers bracket, not this round obviously, but in the following round, if things play out with IG and Stay Green moving on, they're going to be matched up against each other. One of those two teams is going to be finishing probably 7th/8th place. That is something. I mean, those two teams, hell, Stay Green, obviously, they win cycles. They got second last cycle. IG, they got third last cycle. One of those two teams is going to be finishing 7th or 8th place, 7th/8th place, whatever you want to call it there, in that losers bracket. So that's also kind of fun to see how that's lining up. And, hell, one great team is going to be knocked out in this weekend. So we'll see which one happens to be. But Pew never ceases to disappoint. Never ceases to disappoint when it comes to the troll factor. Anyways, the next tier of bands coming out right here. We had Fade, Dr. Repulsor, Magnus, Sandwraith, Rally, and then Dampira actually the final band. See, Dampira actually left alone all the way until then. Kind of interesting, Dampir. I guess Stay Green's really the only team to still absolutely ban Dampir in the initial banning phase. But other teams seems like it's not really as much of a concern anymore. I mean, he still is a very dangerous hero, of course, but he did get some nerfs, and maybe not as on high up on the list for other teams. And obviously, again, an example here, he eventually gets banned out, but with the final ban in the next tier of bans. Now the next tier of picks coming out right here. Let's take a look at what we got. We got Torturer into the Pyromancer, Moon Queen coming out for Team Excellence. So Excellence good to go with their lineup, and that pretty much gives us some answers of what we should expect to see now. It is going to be a short lane Moon Queen. You got your Kraken and Torturer mid. Scout's going to be Suicide Tempest in the jungle. Unless you want to run some kind of pseudo trial lane, that's probably not going to be the case. So, yeah, expect to see those lanes basically set up here with when it comes to Team Excellent and what they're running. Now, as far as 007 is concerned, again, looking at the Warbeast, Hag, Parasite, Pyromancer, they finish it off with Pestilence, actually, with their final pick. So that also gives us some certainties there, most likely. Probably going to see that Warbeast Suicide, the Hag short lane. You got your Pyromancer Pestilence middle, and then Parasite going to be in his own jungle. So that's shaping out to be a pretty fun game here as far as the lanes go. Again, pretty expected, unless well, I guess more so 007. They are running the Parasite, so running an aggressive pseudo trial lane isn't out of the question by any means. But you know, you would think that it's going to be more the natural setup, but we'll see what 007 decides to go with here. So Pestilence, he's kind of obvious. He's been another hero that has shined on the competitive scene as of recent. Ever since that Runic Shift patch where he got quite the buffs pretty much all across the board, was fun to see. And now we have here, to this point today, again, he's actually been picked up quite frequently, especially as that middle hero. You know, he was kind of back and forth after those changes happened. Seems like we were seeing him a little bit, then he died off again. His middle presence just didn't seem like, you know, as strong as other mid heroes, especially when it came to the range stuns and whatnot. But he's kind of stepped back up, and again, his potential to eventually be a great presence in the mid-game stage, especially with this excellent initiation. The flight is great, especially now that it goes to unit walking. You no longer take damage as a result of using it. And the Swarm debuff is obviously amazing as well. And, hell, great synergy with a hero like Warbeast over here that they have on their side. So, as far as the start is concerned, kind of an interesting start here for Koala Gaming, a.k.a. this is actually Jolim. Here, just to clarify that right off the bat. He has fun changing his names around and whatnot. But he is playing the Moon Queen. He actually goes Ring of the Teacher, first item. Just straight Ring of the Teacher into the 3 Tree Eaters. So kind of an interesting start there as far as he's concerned. But maybe that has something to do with the Warbeast matchup, perhaps. And not only building up his armor, but also being able to use his Moonbeam maybe a little more frequently. Not sure exactly what the 100% the logic is there, but again, it is a little bit different seeing the first item Ring of the Teacher coming out here onto Moon Queen. But nonetheless, not really anything off the wall. As far as the lanes go, again, it's kind of looking like as expected. Oh, Scout actually running into a little bit of a iffy situation up here. It looks like he did get the ward aside down. Oh, they both placed the ward aside here. I don't know who placed it first. Well, I guess you do the math. It looks like it was placed first by Dirty Mob. So I'm guessing that they were able to see the water site placed here by Bassett's, and wondering if they're going to look to counterward that off the bat. I mean, no Rev Wards being purchased just yet. They don't really have gold to do so. In fact, Parasite just purchases a straight-up Blood Chalice. He does have a Rev Ward on him, though. So we'll see if he eventually makes his way over there and gets that taken care of. But what are we seeing? Okay, it is actually going to be a Torture bottom. Torture's going to be babysitting the Moon Queen off the bat, at least, to get him a good start. And then he probably will just end up babysitting in the end. I mean, so they're pretty confident, just leaving fine here on Kraken, expecting him to have a good time. You know, that's understandable. Again, Kraken is that kind of that hero, kind of like that rally presence where in 1v2 matchups he can shine. The Tsunami Charge makes a great escape mechanism on top of just being naturally tanky, of course. So, and you know, the Pestilence Pyromancer combination it's strong, but again, with Pestilence, he needs to be able to get right next to you to throw that Impale up, or at least very, very close to you. Unlike other, you know, stun presence mid-heroes, so that's it kind of makes sense what they're thinking here. You know, just make sure Moon Queen has a good time, box out War Beast, and Kraken should be able to hold his own. Might not have the best farm by any means, but at least keep him alive and get him the levels is what matters in the end. So I know a lot of people are intrigued. You know, speaking of Denial Esports, that obviously matchup, the winner bracket semifinals. As always, guys, here on day number 2, we start with the losers bracket, and the winner bracket semifinal matches happen as far as the next tier matches. So that is all set to take place at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2100 Central European Time. So after this round of matches here. So. And I think it's safe to say, I know both those teams definitely fan favorites. Too Much Sugar versus Denial Esports is the matchup we're going to be looking to cover as far as the next matchup. Obviously, Lions versus Reason Gaming, also another great matchup there in the winter bracket semifinals. But yeah, I think it's safe to say Too Much Sugar versus Denial Esports. I'm really looking forward to that one. I definitely am, and I know a lot of people out there as well. So definitely looking forward to covering that one later on. But not that this isn't a matchup as well that I'm expecting some fun out of. Again, 007, we don't get the chance to cover them much because, again, they are a team that bounces back and forth between that Diamond and Gold division. But honestly, I mean, the players on this team, you got Diglett, Dirty Mobs, Present 25 now, as he's known. And these are all known players. They've been around since Season 1. They've been a very competent team. They've been a very solid team. I mean, this is a team that definitely can compete even with some of the best teams out there, as they've shown in the past, but they just haven't been able to. And I think a lot of that just really simply comes down to their practice regimen isn't necessarily up there compared to other top-tier teams. As far as skill level goes, this is a skillful team, but as far as them putting 100% of the effort, putting a lot of the practice time into it, you know, it probably isn't as much as the other top-tier teams. But again, it's their decision in the end, and you know, as long as they're having fun, that's really what matters. Scout in the meantime at the top lane, he's putting some damage into Wretched Ag. Diglett might have overstepped his boundaries, but now Scout is going for the chase. Revward is put down, ring around the freaking Rosie. Leash gonna come out right there, and Bloodlust's kill coming out in favor of what you got. Wow, that was kind of entertaining to watch. Literally ring around the Rosie, man. Wretched Hag having some fun right there, and good placement of the Rev Ward, because if it wasn't for that, Scout could have very likely gotten that kill himself. But that was a big kill though, coming out from Parasite, and I believe he came in with the Wild Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. So well played, right there, and obviously a good start coming out for the Hellborn team. As a result of that Bloodlust kill. Now, let's take a closer look as far as the creep score and how things are going, especially at this bottom lane. Moon Queen 24-9 now. Wretched Hag obviously up there 15-5, so has been involved. Definitely a much better start here for Moon Queen. Granted, of course, he's had the babysit. Warbeast, on the other hand, 0 creep kills. He's only level 2. So Nightmares here playing the Warbeast. He is not having the best of times at all. And in fact, you see Moon Queen jumping up. He already has his boots, of course, and putting in some good pressure right there onto him, throwing out that level 3 Moonbeam. So keeping it up. He actually buys his Steam Boots right there. Yeah, Moon Queen's having a fantastic start, to say the least. Now, Parasite is working off that Bloodlust kill, and that most certainly is showing in his farm. And as he is upwards of, what is he looking at? 348 gold per mated even. So up there, in fact, now beating the Moon Queen as far as farm is concerned. He still has that Rev Ward on him, so I guess they just simply did not see that ward as they placed, and has not been able to counter it as a result. But in the meantime, at the bottom lane, mass push coming. That's going to be an easy tower kill. Tempest and Torture obviously there to assist. Torture with a level 2 impalement. Assisting with some good damage. So free tower kill, and they're still going to go. They're still going to go, so 007 has to make a tough decision here. Do they look to defend this and fight this off, or are they just going to say screw it? I mean, Pyromancer is rotating. Pestilence doesn't have a TP. No one has a TP, so This is an excellent push, well, by Team Excellent right here. This is a good timing push. They figure that they're not going to be able to invest the resources to stop them, and they're exactly right. In fact, they may just keep going. I mean, this might be a thing where they just keep going to the base at this point. I mean, there's no TPs on the Hellborn side right now, and I'm sure Team Excellent is picking up on that. They are going to fall back, though. Moon Queen's kind of still going as she's farming up the creep wave, but in the end, both Tempest and Torture are going to fall back. And I'm a little bit, I don't know about that. I mean, I feel like they actually could have put a little bit of pressure on the base right here, but it is still very early on. I mean, we're not even 6 minutes into the game here, and this isn't a mass-pushing team by any means here on Team Excellent. So, you know, at the same time, it's why risk it? It's not really worth it that much. And in the end, they're going to go back and get more farm elsewhere. Kraken, in the meantime, has the Invis rune. Almost as if he wanted to set something up. A lot of stacking going on. Holy crap, there's a lot of creeps here in the jungle. They are really setting it up for Moon Queen as, what does she have saved up? Another 1,000 gold saved up, so I'm guessing she's going to look to finish that Whispering Helm here and make her way into the jungle, clean out those triple stack Ancients in a couple of those places. As Kraken, in the meantime, releasing Kraken coming out. Peasant's in trouble. He gets the Impulsion off, but Silence comes out after, preventing him from using Fly. Will they get in time? No, they can. No, the turret! And the auto attack to finish him off, so it is enough right there. Beautiful Silence, and actually Moon Queen finishes off Pyromancer, using the Moon Finale to do so as he cuts him off, and now they're going to push the middle lane. So right there, okay, it looks like apparently somebody crashing, but obviously a beautiful play coming out. That Silence was big. I was going to say initially it was like, well, the Silence was late because he used the Impale, but obviously it prevented him from using the Flight right after, and that bought enough time for Team Excellent to stay close enough and eventually pick up the kill right there. Onto Pestilence, of course, and then even on to Pyromancer. So it's safe to say Team Excellent is looking pretty damn good right here as far as their start is concerned. They're already looking at a 4,000 gold lead and a 2,100 experience lead now here in game number 1. So we're not even 7 minutes in. And yeah, Diglett in the meantime, you know, his farm at the top side, only 270 GPM currently. Hasn't been able to really do the most. Pestilence with that death right there. He's been doing solid, but death obviously hurting him a little bit. And then Parasite has kind of gone down a little bit as well as far as what he's been able to bring to the table. So seems like Team Excellent, they're pretty confident with their team presence. They push the bottom lane and they get the 2 towers, and now they make their way towards mid. So it's quickly getting out of hand. And 007, you know, we brought this up yesterday with Denali Esports against State Green, how they were going up against a push. They had very little to no creep clearing potential. There is that here on 007. You know, Pyromancer's solid at that, Wretched Hag's solid at that. But it is so early on in the game that is that going to be enough at this point? And at Team Excellent, they know that they have a pretty hefty lead here. So they're doing what they need to make happen in terms of having a good time here in game number 1. So it's good to see that coming out from them, as it looks like Fine is going to reconnect here. And hopefully we can move on with game number 1, ASAP. So obviously there are 3 other matchups currently happening at this time. You got Of the Forest versus Internet Gangsters, You Love to Party versus Stay Green, PIY versus The Law, and then of course Team Excellent versus We Are Spies, the matchup that we're covering here. So, and it loops back to round of 2. You know, you expect some matchups where, you know, one-sided ones, and I think it's safe to say kind of those other matchups are fairly one-sided, expected to be, but who knows? Who knows? We'll keep an eye on those matchups. But this is the one that really stood out as, you know, really either team has a pretty good chance of winning, especially with Team you know, it's kind of funny because we talk about Team Excellent. This isn't the same Team Excellent, sure, but this still is a good team here. I mean, again, this is you still got great players. Jolem, you got Fine, obviously, he's playing here. You got Bassett's Pew, that's originally Team Excellent. But then Jolem and Mizukami, he also seems to be a solid player. This is not like a complete downfall of a team by any means. This is still a top-tier team, even in the Diamond Division, I would think it's safe to say. So, again, I just hope that, you know, they can keep it together, stick around, and the last thing we want is for a team like Team Excellent to ultimately fall apart after so long here in Season 2 and not being able to at least finish it out when it comes to finishing off the season. But 007, so the mid-push never happens there from Team Excellent. They decide to fall back. Their cooldowns weren't really ready, at least with the Moon Finale and the release of Kraken. They do have an Elemental Void, of course, but not looking to use that just yet. Instead, going to go back to farm and work off of that instead. Scout, in the meantime, at the top lane, His farm's solid, 260 gold per minute. There's the Whispering Helm purchased by Moon Queen. And the triple stack ancients, or triple stack jungle creep is still there. He's going to push up the bottom lane initially. We'll probably fall back and look to do that, though, here in the very short future. As going to finish off the cell cannon, and then, oh, we actually missed that kill right there. A little slight mistake. Not the end of the world, though, for him. So Pestilence, his start right here, is not looking, well, it's solid, but again, it has died down a bit, especially after that death. Uh-oh, Tempest. He sees Parasite, and he's going to jump in right here. Scott coming out. The Elemental Void coming out. Scott with the auto attacks. It should be enough damage. Yes, chain reactions even from the side right there to make sure they get the kill. So they used a bit, but in the end, they get the easy kill on a Parasite. And Moon Queen just continuing to push, man. He's continuing to push, working towards the bottom tower right here. I really think cleaning up these the jungle triple stack at the very least would be the most efficient use of his time here, though. So it looks like he's starting to fall back now, and very possibly gonna head over to there, but that big kill on Parasite, easily finding him in the jungle. Double invis, one on Tempest, and of course Scout with his Vanish. That's just not much Parasite could do right there in terms of preparing for that. And now the top lane, we got easy push coming out here from the Legion side. It's gonna be another tower kill. It's the third tower kill already in their favor. And it is showing in the GPM once again. 6,400 gold lead, 2,400 experience lead on top of that. Portal key, straight portal key coming out from Pew here, playing the Tempest. So really just wanting to get that PK as soon as possible, apparently, for that great jump potential. That also leads me to believe that they're just going to be looking up and just looking to push here right away. Speaking of that, though, Moon Queen actually not going the Energizer build early on. Wonder if that had a bit to do with just his farm early on was just so good that he just figured he'd rush right into the Whispering Helm. But Energizer is a solid item pickup to have, especially if you are going to be grouping up and doing some team pushing and fighting and whatnot. So I wouldn't be surprised if he still actually even goes for it here with his next pickup, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, he's just going to activate it? No, he does. He's canceled it right there, but now he's in a little bit of trouble. He dodges the Impale, though. The Impale severed Pestilence. He used it, expecting him to go on. There's the Moon Finale actually going off. He's looking to turn it around here. The auto attacks. The RNG wasn't necessarily the best, and he will fall before he can get the kill. Warby survives. He runs away. Pestilence being there was here. So Jolem right there. Oh, man, he ran into a little bit of a trap. The RNG wasn't 100% in his favor, and in the end, he gets picked off, and his teammates cannot do anything to, well, get any response there, at least right away. So, good pickoff for 007 coming out right there. A little bit of greed by Moon Queen, but at the same time, just well played on their part. So, the Moon Queen death obviously hurts, but he's still upwards of 400+ gold per minute. Energizer just finished on Scout, by the way, and actually, he's going to be spotted right here. Unless they have any kind of dust, it doesn't look like it. Pyromancer, all he has is a Ward of Sight and a health potion. not the friendliest of games for dirty mobs right here, playing the Pyromancer. But in the end, he is going to fall back before much happens to him. He is level 6, though, so he has that Blazing Strike of his, and that's some good burst damage coming out, of course. So Moon Queen coming back up, goes right to the jungle, and actually buying a Quick Blade right here. So going to be building up into the Firebrand next. Makes me even more curious about the straight portal key here coming out from Tempest, whether or not that's proving to be the most efficient item choice. Again, that's more of a case if you're expecting to just team fight and team push here right away, then it makes sense, but I don't know if they're doing a whole lot of that, so passing up items like the Astrolabe and whatnot else, but the PK is a good item to have in the end, so not overcritical by any means. Helm of the Black Legion finished by Kraken. It's good to see there. How's the Hellborn team doing in terms of their items? Progression. Oh, bottom lane. That's an easy kill on a Warbeast. Speaking of the portal key, so, well, Tempest does make use of it right there. No ultimate needed. PK's in, gets a stun off, and eventually has the follow-up from his teammates, of course, so. This tower, or not the tower, the Ancients are going to be stolen here by Team Excellent in the meantime. So Moon Queen, even with that death, again, still up there, and now 425 gold per minute. Pestilence trying to get that PK as soon as possible himself. He did go the Mystic Vestments first, no, makes sense. But probably going to be heading towards that portal key next. 1440 gold currently saved up. So still needs a little bit of time here before that is going to be happening. But in the meantime, Scout in the front lines. You see his team looking to push middle. Pyromancer's here. And so is Warbeast. The only one not here in the area really is Wretched Hag is from the top side. So again, it might be a case of 007. It looks like they want to defend this. Pestilence still no Portakey yet, though. You see the Vulture load right there from Parasite. Kind of being annoying with that. Push out the lane. I don't know if they saw Scout actually or not. Yeah, he got dusted right there, but he's able to get away before any jump happens. So the Hellborn team, they're trying their best to hold this off. Torture taking a good amount of damage right there. And actually, it looks like they're going to get them to fall back. Team Excellent figuring it's not worth to push it in right there all the way. Decide to fall back before too much danger happens. Understandable. They are up 7,700 gold, so... And they do got the Moon Queen factor. So it makes sense as to why. Kraken actually using an Invis right here. They do have triple stack H's on their side, but he uses the Invis, and now he's headed back towards the top lane. So Wretched Hag could be a victim right here. He got Scout nearby. Silence ready to go. He can get the jump. This could be a big kill on to Wretched Hag. See Kraken kind of setting himself up now. So Diglett has to, will he be able to react to this? Silence. Silence. There's the silence. Here's the opening with the disarm. The Tsunami charge with the stun. There's one. This Kraken. Nobody blinks away. The release of Kraken wasn't perfect. It doesn't matter, though. Marksman shot to finish him off. So, in a sense, kind of a waste to release the Kraken, but not really the biggest deal again. They get the pick off when it's all said and done. And that's really what matters. So, yeah, he was going for it with his release of Kraken. He had to hit the center of it on the Wretched Hag right there to follow up with the stun. But Hag was able to blink away before the silence were off. And, you know, we saw that yesterday, actually. Speaking of Bassett's build here, we saw Fabelli for Internet Gangsters. He was actually leveling up the Electric Eye. Notice that came into play. I mean, each level you add a second to it. So it's only 3 seconds at level 1. It can be all the way up to 6 seconds, of course, at level 4. So right there, you know, maybe if you add that one extra level into it, perhaps that would have been the easier kill. But in the end, again, they got it anyway. So well played right there by the Legion side. Pestilence finishing off the Ancients in the meantime. Trying to get that PK. Speaking of Ancients, triple stacks were included on Moon Queen, and now he has a Firebrand to follow up the Whispering Helm. So cleaning up his own jungle. There's the portal key purchased by Pestilence. Warbeast 1,100, really 1,200 gold saved up. Finishing his Abyssal Skull, but uh-oh, he's in trouble. He's going to start running back. Scout's going to see where he's going. You got Moon Queen charging over. Can he get her in time? There's the Moonbeam. Going to come with the Moon Finale on top. Easy kill right there on a Warbeast. Beautiful execution. Silence prevented him from using that ultimate. And even though Warbeast reacted a little, pretty early right there in terms of this feeling something was up, it just wasn't enough, of course. And they do get the catch, so pick off right there. What did I see picked up, by the way? Pew has 2,400 gold saved up here on Tempest, so pulling up a bit of gold once again. Mighty Blade on Moon Queen, so probably turn that into a Shrunken Head here. I doubt we're going to see the Frostburn pick up. Kraken actually finding a friend in Pestilence right here off to the side. He has Lucius with him as well. Release of Kraken going to be coming out, but not going to be nearly enough to do anything for turning around. He had Moon Queen charging in, but Pestilence reacting appropriately and going the other way with the flight before he gets caught right there. You still see Pyromancer, man. This has just been a difficult game for Dirty Mobs. Only 83 gold per minute. No boots yet even. He's had to invest in Dust for his team as well as the wards. Keeping up some regen. So yeah, not the friendliest support game here for him. There's the Warhammer pickup on Moon Queen, so it is definitely going to be the Shrunken Head. Actually has a Wolf Commander taking over. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, just simply wanted to creep, but Wolf Commander obviously a great presence for the aura that he brings to the table. It's a fairly short-range aura, I believe, but still. The plus 30% base damage, good for Moon Queen to help her push. Also help clean up the Ancients, for that matter. I've always brought that up, you know, the idea of Ophelia minions specifically, but even with Whispering Helm, you know, taking over minions like that, like the Wolf Commander, the Ice Ogre, the Snotter Boss. I'm still waiting for the Snotter Boss strat. That move speed aura, man, ridiculous. Crazy OP. Moon Queen actually, yeah, that's not going to happen. That was actually kind of funny. Pestilence charging in, and then Warbeast comes charging in with the ulti form, but then they realize very quickly, it's like, wait a second, this is not going to work. I think they probably saw Torture also nearby, but even if Torture wasn't there, I mean, Moon Queen, she is pretty built here. Got some decent armor already. Well, got to be a little scared, too. In that area, there wasn't really a whole lot of creeps nearby, so her Moon Finale that much more effective, especially being level 2 of it. So yeah, would have been a risky move anyway, so the fallback decision, probably the best one for 007 right there. Top lane, once again, they're going to try to kill Wretched Hag right here. You see Vagabond Leader taking over from Parasite, kind of scouting things out. Dust going to be used, so they figured something was up right there, but we see by that time, Scout was already out of there. And no catch going to be happening. Team Exit, though, again, the lead just gradually increasing, looking back at the Moon Queen factor. So as far as what hope Hellborn team has, in fact, Warby's going to be going straight into the Shrunken Head, it looks like. So he's not even going to finish the Abyssal Skull here. Perhaps just how the game's going. Could argue that that's the best choice. I don't know. I mean, I still think the Abyssal Skull is such a farming-enhancing tool for him. And just a good item to have in general for his team. In fact, speaking of Abyssal Skull, just picked up by Scout right there for the Legion team. But you could also understand, you know, again, the Shrunken Head obviously very important with Team Excellence really pushing in the lanes here. And already killing Warbeast a couple times, catching him pushed up, so wants that Shrunken Head to be able to get away in those cases and roam around in those fights. But that even goes back to what we're talking about with the Scout draft, how even with the Shrunken Head on Warbeast, Scout gets the auto attacks in there with the disarm, and all of a sudden Warbeast is useless for those 2 seconds. And he gets disarmed, and depending on how long Scout is able to stay on top of him, so. Team Excellent in no rush, clearly. Oh, Puzzle Box actually being built by Parasite right here. That's at level 2 now? Yeah, he's level 1 on him, so level 2 going to be delivered. So he's building up the Puzzle Box here to follow up his Bloodchild's Ghost March, so yeah. And kind of a different style, no Codex, or no Portal Key or anything like that. But instead, going the Puzzle Box. There's multiple reasons why that's decent. Scout being able to have the Invis detection, and obviously the Mana Burn always solid. I don't know about that, though. I think that PK route could have been a pretty good investment here for Parasite, too, because just being able to jump that Moon Queen in the background, or even the Tempest for the matter, or being able to position himself to being able to stop the Tempest ultimate, because with the Shrunken Head pickup, as Marksman shot is going to finish out Wretched Hag. Release the Kraken also being used. Not sure about that. Probably should have figured the Marksman shot was going to be enough, but the communication wasn't 100% right there. Didn't matter, though. Kill still happens. They just won't have a release of Kraken now for this top lane push. But, yeah, speaking of Tempest, he does have the full Shrunken Head now, so obviously they were going to be relying all on Parasite to stop that. So, yeah, even more reason why Portal Key would be good for him. But, yeah, Puzzle Box is also a good item to have. But even no matter what the items are, I mean, this is going to be a difficult push to stop right here. Now Team Excellence at a point of they're feeling pretty confident. Shrunken Head is finished on Moon Queen as well. They got the Portal Key on Kraken. So even though he doesn't have his ultimate, he's still going to be able to jump in there. Got Warbeast even picking up a Mystic Vestments now. He's pulling up a little bit of gold, but it's still well off that Shrunken Head. So you're in an awkward spot if you're 007 right here. The tower's going to fall in the meantime. So Legion team going to fall back. As Blessed Orb is going to be picked up by Moon Queen right there. So Geometer's Bane coming out. So 007, it kind of just feels like a point of just delaying the inevitable almost. Not saying they should give up by any means, but you know what realistic chances do they have here? Just as a team, things are just going so much better for Team Excellent. And then the Moon Queen on top of that. He's just the GPM chart really tells the story there. The top 4 farmers in the game all well in favor of Team Excellent, including, of course, Moon Queen. And 554 gold per minute, so it's nearly 300 GPM higher. Glowstone picked up by Hag, so guess the icon of the goddess may be the item choice for her. Just hasn't been a farming game for any of these Hellborn heroes. And choosing not to go the life brand route, at least initially. There's the Geometers being finished. Conqueror hasn't been killed yet. Wouldn't be surprised to see Team Excellent try to clear out that area and go for a Conqueror kill, but I also think they just don't need it. So, why risk the Conqueror kill if you don't actually need it to win this game? May just decide to go for the push instead. There's still the one outer tower remaining, but it is already low, and you see 007 setting up, but they're not even going to push it. So 007 just spending a lot of time here. Warbeast and Pestilence especially kind of just sitting here, not doing much farm, while Wretched Ag kind of pushes back the lane. But they are just in that difficult spot of having to play so defensive. You see the Hellhound is going to actually scout them doing the Ancients, but not much they're going to be able to do to stop that. It's more so just watching them get even further ahead in the meantime. Uh-oh. We're going to fight up here. Oh, actually, Scout's getting caught. Scout is going to fall. Will it come at a cost? Moonqueen charging in. Warbeast, a little bit of stutter step, though. Moonbeam coming out right there. Moon Finale not going to be used just yet. They do find Pyromancer. Get the kill on him. Warbeast being chased down. He will be fine in the long run as he gets away. So they pick off Scout right there. I guess they use some dust to do so. Obviously, for a Pyromancer sacrifice, still worth it. But now into the base goes Team Excellent. Look at the glaive starting to do some work right here. You see Moonqueen actually using an illusion in the background. Pestilence using a stun onto it, even swarming it. I'm not sure if he actually thought that was the real one or not, but it took him even a while to kill a illusion Moonqueen right there. So melee Rax going down. Range Rax is going to stay alive, but Team Excellent, again, they decided to fall back before they just do not want to stress. They do not want to push it. No reason for them to. They have just a very, very comfortable lead here in Game 1. And don't need to overcommit by any means, so. Moonqueen's already has another 1,300 gold. He got 23 more hundred saved up on Kraken, 2,400 on Tempest. And it just keeps going back to our Hellborn side of 007. Not much shining for them. I mean, the Shrunken Head is going to be coming up here shortly for Warbeast finally, but that in itself is still a little bit off, and even with that, is that going to be the difference maker? Again, you got a lot of physical presence now for Moonqueen, and then again it keeps going back to Scout and what he's still able to do, even with that Shrunken Head. And then there's Hag, who she is level 14. If she can manage to get that level 16 mark, a level 3 Bat Blast would definitely help for these fights here. Pestilence is not going to be having a level 3 Storm in the near future. But still, minus 12 armor. Pretty damn good. You see Moonqueen where she's at. She's at 22.6, kind of bouncing around, depending on what boot she's on. But, oh, what's up here? Scout actually finds some toys. Let's see if they find a jump here. Moonqueen on the uphill. Oh, Pyromancer, you're in a bad spot. No, she's going to be fine. Moonqueen kind of going back and forth. Pestilence will see them, though, and they finally react to it. So the easy tower kill coming out there for our Team Excellent. But again, Team Excellent falling back before too much commitment there. And now in a Conqueror Pit they go. So this goes back to the idea they probably don't even need to do Conqueror necessarily. But if 007 is going to give them that opportunity, the lanes are pushed up, they're just sitting on their base. Why the hell not do it? So this should be an easy Conqueror. I mean, 007 is trying to get their time. Pestilence, will he blink in? He is going to blink in. Can he steal it? No, he cannot. Moonqueen gets it. Shrunken Head goes up, and Pestilence is going to fall. The charge missed. It doesn't matter, though. Scout, in the meantime, up at the front line. See over here. Relays the Kraken. Catches Warbeast. He is in LT form. He is going to be able to run away. But now Parasite in some trouble. Silence coming out. The auto protects from Scout. Tsunami charge will stun him into the cliff. He is on the uphill, though. Will it be? No, he gets taken out. Bat Blast hits multiple. By the time, sold him into pull and Wretched Ag. GG, well played is being called, though. It doesn't matter. Game number 1 is going to go to Team Excellent right there. And, again, really, it really wasn't much of a chance for 007 for the most part. Team Excellent was just too far ahead earlier on, and they tried to hang in there, but the farm just was not there. Team Excellent just played very well as a team, controlled the map very well. Moonqueen obviously had an amazing start. That's what they focused on, and none of the lanes went all that great for 007. I mean, the middle lane, Pestilence was doing decent, I guess, and even Parasite was off to a good start. But their aggression kind of stopped fairly early on. They weren't able to get the porta key on Pestilence earlier on like they were going for, of course. And before you know it, Team Excellent was just too much to handle. So game number 1, going to Team Excellent right there in the losers bracket round 2. Obviously, best of 3. So, ladies and gentlemen, going to take a short break as always. But we'll be back. We'll be back. Game number 2. Team Excellent versus 007 here from the losers bracket round 2 here on HoNcast.com. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.
Sort of